Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's interview. I have Kristina Bartold with me today, and I'm just very excited about today's episode because we're talking about, I would say, an area of business that a lot of people struggle with, and that is building communities online. I think everybody is looking for the next great sales copy for a Facebook ad or Instagram ad that's going to bring thousands and thousands and thousands of people into the top part of their funnel and then get into their Facebook groups and so on and so on. But again, there are better ways to do it. There's organic ways to do it. But what we're going to talk about today is the long game in business. You know, everyone's looking for that quick fix, but you know, when you build too fast, when you grow certain aspects too fast, you lose that human touch. And that's what really draws in a wonderful community. So we're going to talk about all that and more. So Kristina, welcome to today's episode.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I admire the community you've built. I'm so excited to jam out on all things community and so excited to be here.
Well, super excited to have you because community building, for some people, it comes very naturally and organically. It's something I've been doing for years, whether it was in the brick and mortar side of things that I did in the fitness industry, growing gym communities, to then the online space. And then obviously that's what we've been doing for the last 11 years now. But as social media has grown, as that has become the main, I would say, visibility channel for businesses, it's becoming more of a daunting task to build those online communities. But before we go into the strategies, the tactics, the tips that you have, I like to always go back before we go forward. So if you could rewind the tape and press stop at a certain point in your professional and personal life where it was that pivotal moment for you, that catalytic moment for you that, you know, lit the spark and has sent you down the path that you're now currently on.
Yeah. So for me, when you were talking about how there's always people who like community building comes naturally to me, like it's me especially, like I have always found community building to be something super easy, whether it was being a camp counselor or being an RA in college, like it was just like easy for me. And so I was always doing freelance social media, like on the side, but I had a 9 to 5. I had a lot of limiting beliefs about being an entrepreneur. And during COVID, I kind of took flight and I started a leadership kind of consulting business. And that was kind of my background. That's why I did my master's in and all of that. And what I realized was every single one of my one-on-one clients would leave with a side hustle. Like they would leave with a business. I was teaching them how to build online businesses. I was teaching them about funnels. I was teaching them all of these things that, you know, we learn. And really for me, like what that pivotal moment was that I realized that I was able to make more impact talking to people, business owners, one-on-one about what their visions were and helping them market their dreams. And you said it best when you were talking about how people are always looking for quick fixes. I saw that. People were looking for, how do I gain 10,000 Instagram followers overnight? How will I, get 50,000 LinkedIn connections? Like whatever that is. And you can have 50,000 of those and not be able to sell a t-shirt. So really, really honing in on like, what are people's gifts? How do they be able to market those gifts and be able to build a community around it that is excited to buy from them? And so that was kind of the pivotal moment for me, was when I started to work one-on-one with people and I just saw the transformation and I knew I had to make this a full-time thing. And so that's when we kind of got started with our Done For You agency and started working with folks directly, because I actually don't see it as like us making Canva, pictures or us writing captions. We're really helping people make impact with their businesses, with their messaging, so that they can make sales in their business.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking for the impact, and one of the side effects of the impact is the income that you can then bring in. And I think, there's the pandemic, obviously, even though we're almost 4 years post-pandemic at this point, which is crazy to think how fast time has gone since. But what it did, it grew so many new entrepreneurs. So many people were flooding the online space. And there's a handful of people were able to stick it out, and there was a great deal of people that weren't. They
Yep.
found that once they got under the hood of entrepreneurship and they found out it's not all easy peasy when you're trying to grow an online business. They gave it the old college try, and they might have went back and got just a regular job, which is completely fine. I always commend people for getting out of their comfort zone and trying new things. And the one thing that continues to populate for a lot of people is my messaging. How can I get my message to come across to the right person? How can my message attract the right person to my business? How can my messaging on my sales page convert more sales? So what do you feel if somebody's listening to this and they feel that their messaging is off, or what they're putting out there is just not hitting home with the audience that they've built? What's your best piece of advice for someone to really understand how to start impacting more people with the messaging that they have?
So for me, what I think the best piece of advice I have is that you need to actually be talking to your audience. And that is something we don't want to do. When we have often there's this saying in entrepreneurship, it's like you're selling to a past version of yourself. And I love that saying, but I also believe that, past version of yourself might not have bought what you're selling today. So you need to be talking to the people who you think will actually buy from you and ask them, how do they see you? Like, what do they think you do? What problem do you solve for them? Because I'll give you an example. I was talking to someone the other day and she was like, I'm an intuitive business coach. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's cool. And I was like, but you never talk about business in any of your posts. You never talk about she's helped people make millions of dollars. Never talks about it because she doesn't want to talk about it. Like, she doesn't want to talk about social proof. But what she needed to hear from someone who could be an ideal client from her was, these are the things that are important to me. And these are the things that would make me hand over my visa. And so asking your audience, actually asking them, like, what do they want to hear from you? What are they excited about? And what are they bought into? That will help you finesse your marketing and your messaging to make it even more crystal clear, so that it's directly to them.
I think clarity is such an important word to kind of anchor off of, because Nancy and I always tell people, when you ask someone a question related to their business, whether it's business positioning statement or what is your overall messaging theme, one of the worst things that another entrepreneur can say back to you is, I don't know. And when you're not clear on any of those things, you're not clear on your offer, you're not clear on your marketing strategy, then you're really not clear on the audience that you're looking to build. Because whether people want to acknowledge it or not, no matter how they feel about it or not, social media is still, outside of email marketing, which I love. It's, for me, it's like a game, growing your email list. I just love it. But social media is still going to be the number one driver for us to build online communities, because it is the online space. What have you seen, I would say, differentiation wise, between how people used to go about building online communities compared to 2023 into 2024?
Yeah, so I think we are getting sneakier. People are getting sneakier, and people are getting wiser at the same time, right? So we're seeing a lot of things with like many chat and DM me this word, and then we'll have this conversation or whatever, and that really works with big names, and I think people get really lost on that. But if you're an entrepreneur that's probably making, I would say, less than 7 figures, there needs to be a level of connection that you have with your audience, and so whatever that looks like to you, that makes you feel comfortable. Why I love social media so much, and you kind of spoke to this in a way, is that it's actually the most incredible way for you to be building know, like, and trust with people. You have no idea, as you're building your audience, whether that's through a podcast, showing up in Instagram stories, going on LinkedIn Live, like whatever that is, you have no idea who's waiting to invest with you. We recently sold a course, and this girl comes on the call, and I'm like, I've never seen your name before. And she's like, I listen to your podcast every single week. I love your podcast, and I bought right away. Right? That is impactful, right? And I didn't even think about that as even like a lead gen for our course. I just do that because I love it. So really, when we get to use these tools for building know, like, and trust, people want this like personalized information. They want this like personal connection. And really, I think as we move into 2024, it's going to be about working smarter, not harder, on how to build those personal connections with people in a way that's authentic. And that, because the other piece is that there's a million LinkedIn coaches. There's 1,000 social media agencies out there. So it's figuring out how you can have a unique value proposition of building that strong relationship. And that's what I think community is all about too.
Yeah, and the community aspect of anything that we're doing in our business is all about building the know, like, and trust, because I think you said it before, it's, a lot of people think it is talking to your past self. And in some cases, yes. Other cases, I would say no. I like to kind of quantify it as talking to the passenger side perspective. The person on the other side of the computer screen that's watching this video. The person on the other side of the phone that's listening to this podcast. Or you want to position yourself and relate yourself to that person that you're looking to attract into your community, so you can build the know, like, and trust, and eventually lay down that foundation for them to walk across the bridge and say, yes, I want to purchase something that you're offering. So, I mean, you work with a ton of people, as do Nancy and myself. What are the biggest challenges that you are hearing from the people that you're working with prior, obviously, to stepping in your sphere to work with you?
So I think mostly it's a few things. One is audience. Like, they don't have the audience for what they're looking for. And Scott, like, you were kind of talking about this too, like sometimes not having the right audience. Just having followers is not enough to sell your product, right? Or sell your business or whatever it is, your service. Often, a lot of times what we think is the number goes up, that means our impact's going to go up. That means we're going to make more sales, like our number of followers. That's not always the case. And sometimes we're selling to the wrong audience. I've seen people make massive pivot changes and then they try to sell. I had someone who had a real estate account and then they moved into fitness. There wasn't a really natural progression there. And so they had all these realtor people who were like so excited about the houses that they were selling. And then, now she's selling like shakes and stuff, right? So there's a little bit of a misalignment. So really honing in on who is your audience and how do you grow more people like that? So where does your audience hang out with? Who can you collaborate with? Who can you connect with that's going to actually help amplify your message? So I think audience is the biggest one I'm finding, is that people don't have the audience to sell to the right people. And the other one is that level of messaging, right? It's there's so much stuff out there lately. There's so many things that everybody's hearing. There's so much like noise. So how do you make yourself stand out in the online world? How do you connect with the right people, whether that's through your DM marketing, whether that's through your Instagram, even if it's just finding one great platform that you love being on and showing up there really consistently. That's the big thing, because I think too many people are trying to Alex Hormozy it. And they're trying to be everywhere. And I just really encourage people to like take it like a notch slower and actually get like intense on who your person is and how you can best serve them.
You brought up something interesting, the Alex Hormozy, because what people need to understand, what he did was, I would say, once in a generation type of situation. The fact that he got I think 400,000 emails and he sold it's not duplicatable. And I think that's, kudos to him. Amazing. So happy that people are winning like that. But I just want to bring people back down to reality, that something like that is like hitting the lottery. It's not going to happen many, many times. I go back to something that, Frank Kern, who started Webinar Jam and EverWebinar and Kartra. Him and his partner were the first people to make $1 million in one day. And again, and this was, at least 6-7 years ago, because I remember Tony Robbins was interviewing them. But again, that is not duplicatable. Again, there will be people time to time that hit those home runs, but tried and true, what always wins in business is something that you can rinse, wash, and repeat and play the long game with. The marathon of business, not the sprint of business. So you're like me, you're online all the time. You see all the marketing tactics, the strategies that are being pushed out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are falling for a lot of the marketing strategies that just don't work. What's your advice to those people that, there's carrots being dangled in front of them every single day in their news feeds on all of the social media platforms, and people now feel like, I don't know what I should invest in. I don't know what I should throw my money at. I don't know what course I should buy. What are some filters that you suggest people to run through before they make any sort of investment like that?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think a lot of times I ask people when you're buying from a coach or you're buying for a course, like, do you actually want the lifestyle or the outcome that that person has? That's a big one because often, you actually mentioned something about being relatable and relatable to your audience. And there's all these people out there who don't want to be relatable. They're like, I love that I'm the exception, not the norm. And that's fine. And that jives for people. Some people find that really inspirational. That doesn't inspire me. Like, I'm not stoked about that. So that's not someone I'm going to be like fighting to invest with. So what you want to figure out is exactly like, who do you relate with? Who is someone that's going to pump you up? Who is someone that's going to make you feel like, I'm going to learn what I need to learn. And I'm going to, I was going to say make $1 million, but not make $1 million, feel like $1 million doing it. The other thing too is also figuring out like what your end goal is. Like, what is your end goal? How do you feel like you can reach it? Whether that be I'm looking to sell a course for the first time, or I'm looking to bring on a coaching client or offer a service. Like, what is your end goal, and how does that, whatever it is you're about to invest in, how is it going to lead there? I think often the other piece is that people don't look at the social proof behind the people that they're investing with. So who have they helped? How have they helped? Asking for a discovery call, asking if their methods will also work for you. I remember one of the first courses and business coaches I invested in, her methods were to message people constantly on Facebook Messenger. That was not of interest to me. Like, it just wasn't it. And had I asked some questions ahead of time, I would have saved myself some cash for sure. But all learning lessons, I am who I am now because of it. But I think just really asking yourself, like, how does this align with who you want to be long-term and how you want to grow your business? And I totally agree with what you're saying about Alex Hormozi and some of that mentality. It's like so easy to see these people and be like, they're an overnight success. But like Alex has been working on that for years, right? Like, we're just seeing this now. Like, for those of us outside of the fitness space, everybody in the fitness space is like, we've been watching him this whole time. But I really think it's about finding like your community, finding the way you like building community the most, how you like connecting with people the most, and replicating that over and over again. So if you're a master in the DMs, like if you're a master closer in the DMs, or you're awesome on LinkedIn webinars, or you're incredible with your email list, how do you continue to hone that craft? And then once that's honed, moving into the next platform or moving into the next thing, rather than trying to be everywhere all the time to everyone, making all the investments. Because I think as entrepreneurs, we all spread ourselves a little too thin. So finding ways to limit that.
Yeah, you can't be everything to everyone all at once, unless you're in that movie Everywhere, Everything all at once, which was a great movie. I highly, highly recommend it. It was amazing. So as we start to wind down and you kind of let people know, where they can find you, the one thing I love knowing is if someone was to ask you, what really of other people that are in your space, if you could let the audience know what really separates you from other people in the online audience building space and what you guys do, what would you say are some of the differentiating factors between you and everybody else?
Yeah. The main one I would say, because I obviously own a social media and podcasting agency, but the main one I would say is that we focus on building community and like not building followers. And so that is a huge thing for me, is that I have had people come to me with 50,000 followers and they're not able to sell a $15 product. And that's horrid. Like, it's a horrible situation to be in, but really about like, how do we build community and grow a community so that this way you're able to actually make sales in your business. And we actually care about the sales that you're making, not necessarily the number next to your name. So that is, I think, what definitely sets me apart, is that I actually don't care how many followers you have. I care about the number in your bank account and how that feels for you and how that feels for your family and the impact that you get to make in this world.
Now, as we officially start to wind down, if someone wants to find out more about you, your company, your business, how you help people, who you serve, or anything that you have going on towards the end of this year that obviously would invite them into your community to find out better how you work with people, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and tell us what you have going on as far as business-wise?
For sure. So you can definitely find me on Instagram on any of the platforms using my name. It's Kristina.Bartold on Instagram or at the Social Snippet. I spell my name with a K if that helps. And the other piece is you can also find me on my podcast, which Scott will be on soon, the Build Your Digital Community podcast. And I love jamming out there on how we build community. And I'll also send over a story starter guide, which is a free 30-day story starter guide. So if you're nervous about jumping on Instagram stories to build know, like, and trust and stresses you out, this is amazing. We give you a prompt for every single day so that you can start building that habit and start making those sales in your business. So I'll send that all over to you.
Amazing. So anyone that's listening to this, you're not going to have to travel too far to find it. It will be in the description of this episode and also the email that you opened this morning to listen to this episode. Now, Kristina, final question before we sign off today. What does success truly mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, I think it's looking back on my life and feeling like I've made tremendous impact. Like I've been able to be the most generous. I've been able to be very present with my family and my friends, and being able to hopefully impact some lives in a really positive way.
I love that. Impact just really goes so far. And I can't stress to people enough how important it is not only to be aligned with what you do, but aligned with the people that you serve. So, Kristina, so grateful that you were able to come onto the podcast today, and I'm so much looking forward to coming on to yours. So just appreciate your wisdom, all the nuggets that you shared today, and just grateful for the conversation. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So as always, all the information about Kristina and what she does and how you can work with her, but will be in the description of this episode and the show notes. And as always, wherever you're listening to this tour from, please leave us a rating and review. If you're on iTunes, the rating and reviews mean so much, but also let us know what you love most about the episode, or what would you like to hear more of. So everyone, please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.